Well, folks, next up is going to be the Sports and GT race number 1, and it is the Angel family that locks out the front row of the grid. The Porsche GT2, I said a GT3, it's a GT2R at the on the front row of the grid with Marcel Angel in the Ferrari 488 GT3, and then Steve Humble going to be on the second row of the grid with Franco Scribanti. Franco Scribanti, I'm led to believe by Michael J., the chairman of the Sports and GT. He had a bit of a problem with a tyre that was losing pressure, and for that reason just rolled a little bit off the gas and didn't go too crazy. 1 minute 11, pretty quick for anybody to go around this circuit, but I do believe that Franco Scribanti with the 997 Porsche will definitely do better than a 111.089. Josh Broom on a 112.5 in the Radical SR8. Francis Carruthers rounding out the third row of the grid, the first of the Class A cars with the pull beam PM84.
Right, so they work their way out onto the circuit, and they're going to be doing 10 laps, the Sports and GTs. And if I have a look at the Sports and GT list, I only see one of the drivers out there that actually take part in the iRacing, and that is the man that qualified in P8 with the Shell P Can-Am, Dr. Mike Verrier from the Neisner region, and he is the main man of the iRacing Sports and GT Master Series that goes out live every Wednesday from 7 o'clock on the Sports and GT Facebook page. Goes out live. It also gets streamed on the Western Cape Commentators Group on Second Gear Talk Show, and we try and share it to many other platforms as well. Gary Fleming does all the production and camera work, and he joins me, Mike Side, with the commentary as well. And we've had, what a job we've had out there, especially the first 3-4 races of the 2021 season.
As the guys become more experienced with the whole iRacing setup, so the quality of the racing has become better and better and better, and it is really, it's as close as you get to going out there and doing the real thing on the iRacing platform. So if you'd like to see more of the Sports and GT style racing and a lot of the Sports and GT drivers out there on a Wednesday night, 7 o'clock on the Sports and GT page, and that's definitely something worth watching. So it's the Class A cars of Francis Carruthers, Gary Kieswetter, Mike Verrier, Clinton Thorne that will be from 6th, 7th, 8th, 9th and 10th position. Then we got the Class C car of Louis de Jager, Evergreen Louis de Jager. Gavin Gorman in the Class B car going to be in the 11th position. That'll be Emil Boerter, Ray Farnham and Henny Trollope, all of them in Class D. In the 350Z Nissan, the Opel Birkin 7. It's got a 2-litre power plant underneath the bonnet, and the Lotus Replica 7 of Henny Trollope. They're doing 28 and 1 minute 29 seconds. So 19 seconds per lap difference between the front runners and the slowest cars out there, which to my mind, Frankie, means to me that if they're going to do a rolling start around about the end of a lap 3, if all goes well for Dane and Marcel Angel, they should be looking at the back end of the Lotus Replica 7 of Henny Trollope, and not that far in front of that, Ray Farnham as well.
Well, I'll tell you what, yeah, we're going to have looks like you might have a rolling start. The safety car is leading them down into turn number 3 at this point in time. We'll have a look-see because it's going to be Angel and Angel on the front row of the grid. Dane Angel and Marcel Angel. Steve Humble is right in there as well. You see him making his way down into turn number 4 into Car Care Clinic. That's going to be pretty awesome stuff out there as the field roll behind the safety car down the back straight.
Well, it must be a rather expensive afternoon on racing fuel for the Angel family. If you just take 8 tires, probably about 200 and odd liters of fuel that they're going to run through between those two motor cars with the 2 races, 2 10-lap races, so 20 laps for each of those cars, plus the warm-up, plus the qualifying. Probably a 210-liter drum. You can say cheers, goodbye, and good night. But yeah, add a bit of rubber to that, add a couple of scratches, and yeah, it's not just by the by that you end up at the front end of the pack. You've got to be dedicated, you've got to be good, you've got to have the right equipment. Dane and Marcel Angel are all three of those. The Porsche GT2R and the Ferrari 488 GT3, father and son combination alongside one another. Frankie Ernest, Mike Side, take them off the line.
Watch out for that Judd-powered V8 pull beam of Steve Humble. 10 laps of sports and GT action about to get underway. As the lights go off and away we go as they run down into turn 1 KFM corner. Making his way up out there in P1 is Dane Angel. Right behind him is Franco Scribanti. Scribanti gets it slightly out of shape. Right behind him, we've got Marcel Angel. Then it's the pull beam on the outside with a Judd V8 motor of Steve Humble, and he drives around him on the outside. Oh, and he gets spat to the outside. Here comes Josh Broom. Josh Broom in the Radical City. Look at that V8 power of the Judd motor as it sails in there behind the Ferrari out of turn 3 of Marcel Angel.
Oodles of power there, no doubt about it. He rode around the outside of Marcel Angel in the Ferrari going through turn number 2. You don't do that on any given Sunday. Out into the back main, it's Dane Angel. Here comes Scribanti. Here comes Scribanti. He's closing as they go down into Fastron corner. As we look on the inside of Dane Angel as they go into Fastron, Scribanti hits the front.
Scribanti leads coming out of turn 5 out of Fastron corner. Heading towards the Mad Max motorcycle bridge. Under that bridge they come now as he runs down into turn 1 into KFM corner. It is Franco Scribanti. It's the Porsches lying P1 and P2. Under turn 1 KFM. It is a Franco Scribanti from Dane Angel. Then it's Steve Humble. Behind Steve Humble, Marcel Angel. That's a top 4. Josh Broom and coming through there. Behind them is Francis Carruthers. That's the other pull beam of Carruthers as they head into turn 2. Behind them it's the Martini Racing Porsche of Gary Kieswetter as the field works its way now out of turn 3.
Clinton Thorne coming through behind that. The man doing a pretty decent job in that Toyota Birkin 7 as he works his way down towards turn 3. The Shelby Can-Am of Mike Verrier finds himself 9th on the circuit, 4th in class. Gavin Garman, the only Class B car out there with a 2-litre 4-cylinder VW power plant built by Dave Ingle, battling with a gearbox on that motor car. Just too much power to come through there. The next man behind that. But look at Steve Humble. Fastest sector 1, fastest sector 2, closing right up onto the back of Dane Angel.
Right, running down into turn number 1. Steve Humble has done a 109.958. He is the quickest man out there with the pull beam powered by that V8 Judd motor. He's currently there in that 3rd position, chasing down the Porsche of Dane Angel. The 3 of them work their way out of turn number 2 through the gate to end sector number 1. They'll start sector 2 now as they work their way down into turn number 3. The 3 of them, the Porsche and the pull beam, working out of turn 3. A bit of a gap there. We see the Ferrari of Marcel Angel sitting out there in P4. Then it's the Radical of Josh Broom as they work their way down out of Car Care Clinic corner.
Steve Humble had a look up on the inside of Dane Angel as they went into Car Care Clinic corner, turn 4, had to roll out of the gas. The 2 of them together were catching Franco Scribanti, and that's just given Scribanti a little bit of a breather because Humble had to roll out of the gas. I think Dane Angel had to change his line slightly. So where Dane was catching up to Franco Scribanti, Scribanti's now got himself a reasonable gap there. The fastest man out there with 7 laps to go is Steve Humble, a 109.958. Should they not fight one another, they might be able to get back to Franco Scribanti.
Well, I'll tell you what, it's absolutely amazing stuff at that Judd V8 powered pull beam of Humble in P3 is doing high 109s around Killarney International Raceway as he chases down the 2nd place Porsche into turn 3 of Dane Angel. Behind them is Marcel Angel working his way out of turn 3 with the Porsche. Then Josh Broom in the Radical exiting turn 3 as well. And then the other pull beam of Francis Carruthers heading out of turn 3, but the leaders are making their way down the back straight, heading towards turn 5, Fostron corner, the 2 Porsches and the V8 powered Pulbeam.
I'm going to hazard a guess that if Steve Humble does get past Dane Angel, I think he might actually break a bit of a gap from Dane. I think he's been held up just a little bit at this stage of the fight. I think he's a touch faster, but not enough to be able to make the move. Trying to have a look on the brakes going down into KFM corner, but just not enough. And all that is doing is it's opening up the gap to Franco Scribante. Class A car, pretty much as we expected. Francis Carruthers in the second of the pull beams. Oh, having a look up on the inside of the car, number 2. It's going to be Dane Angel that loses out on that second position. Well, I barely finished saying it, and it's now the pull beam that goes into that second position. Now we'll see what is the relevant lap times between the 2 front cars. When they come past us again, it's going to be 5 laps to go. Open ground in front of Franco Scribante, open ground in front of the local man, Steve Humble.
Well, they had open ground for a short while. They're going to run around the outside of the Birkin 7 of Ray Farnham, heading down into turn 5, Fostron corner. Out of Fostron, here they come now as that Birkin 7 gets gobbled up there by Steve Humble. It is Scribante across the line in P1. It is Humble second. It's Dane Angel third. It's Marcel Angel out there in fourth, and another quicker lap by Steve Humble, a 109.574.
And that having passed the slower car of Ray Farnham as they came out of the Fastron corner. So the relative gap 2.217. Visually, from what I can see, it is already less than that. I'm going to stick with my prediction. There's a possibility, with 5 to go, that Steve Humble in the pull beam, Judd V8 power, what a power plant, will very possibly get onto the back end of the 997 of Franco Scribante.
It's only 2.217 seconds behind the leader. That's gone down to nothing. It was 2.2. It was 2.2 seconds. He's right on that back bumper as they came out of turn 4, but heading into turn 5, he's lost about 2 car lengths on him, but he's right back on him again as they exit turn 5 Fastron.
I think it could have been a bit of a missed gear change as he came out onto the back straight. Definitely going a little bit slower is Steve Humble. And while his last lap time was a 109.5, Scribante a 110.6. So he took 1.1 seconds out, having closed up, lost a bit of ground, and then closed up once again.
Problems out going into the King for Gavin Gorman. He's slowing right down, and Gavin Gorman in the King coming out of turn 2 will retire that motor car there on the Stocker Oval. So sadly, the Nardini is out of this one, driven by Gavin Gorman.
Well, Gavin Gorman, that's been running with problems all along with the gearboxes. And to the front he goes. Steve Humble has gone and fetched and past Franco Scribante as they go through the Car Care Clinic corner out into the back main. Scribante no slower than what he did before. The fastest man out there was Steve Humble, a 109.574. His last lap, in fact, was a 109.588. So pretty much a couple of hundredths of a second. He's now got open ground in front of him, has not got rid of Scribante yet. Let's see what is in Scribante's going to have a go. Scribante comes back up on the inside line.
Well, I'll tell you what, side by side, there was slight contact as they exited turn 1 KFM corner, but all is well that ends well. That pull beam of Humble was never going to give in. Scribante will never give up the fight as well. They've got a back mark ahead of them. That's the Lola T210 of Louis De Jager as they're going to catch Louis going into turn 3. And Louis De Jager will just keep his line and allow the pull beam and the Porsche past.
I think Scribante's going a bit slower. I think there might be a bit of doubt in his mind as to whether the front suspension has taken any damage on that motor car, and that could bring Dane Angel back into play. Let's see how far is Dane behind. Not that far behind. So probably going to find Scribante's going to be on a slower lap now than on the previous one. Let's keep an eye as they come past us. That's Mike Verrier that's just come past us. He slowed right down, so definitely not happy with that motor car. That brings Dane Angel back into play. It's going to be Steve Humble with 2 to go that leads them out. Here comes the Dane Angel. Al White's about 4.8 seconds further back. Marcel should be the next man. Yep, here's Marcel Angel. Ferrari 488 GT3. Josh Broom would probably be the next man on screen. No, it's not Josh Broom. It looks like Francis Carruthers has actually got past him with a pull beam PM84. Those pull beams are blindingly quick.
Well, let's have a look at the two of them as they work their way now under the Mad Max bridge. That is the pull beam of Francis Carruthers. And the Radical of Josh Broom. They're heading into turn 1, into KFM corner. That is the pull beam and the Radical of Francis Carruthers and Josh Broom as head up the Jabez Straight and work their way towards turn number 2. So the pull beam being chased there by the Radical as the two of them exit turn 2.
Well, the Class A contenders in 4th overall, first in
and Josh is slowing down. Sorry, Gary. Josh Broom and the Radical going through the kink, heading towards turn 3, is slowing right down.
Once again, problems for that man with the Radical SR8. It just doesn't want to hold together. He'd spent a lot of time developing that car. They've got some new electricals in there not that long back, and they were really expecting that car to be very, very quick. He said he's not going to put new tires on the car yet. Once he's got everything sorted out, then he'll stick a new set of tires on. He's going to do sub 1 minute 10s. It just has not worked out for him today.
Right, so it seems as if this is the checkered flag lap. Yes, this is the last lap, and the leaders heading into turn number 4. The V8 powered pull beam Judd of race leader Steve Humble making his way now down the Kalani back straight towards turn number 5. There he runs. You see the back end of that pull beam heading down into turn 5 Fostron corner. He's done more than enough. He is 6.3 seconds ahead of Dane Angel Gary as Humble brings the pull beam home in P1.
Oh, that was a brilliant drive once again by Steve Humble. He's, I think that's a name to be feared in sports and GT. Well, the Angel family got it all right earlier on in the day. They locked out the front row of the grid. Steve Humble decided to mess up the family gathering this evening, took away the honors on the front end of the S1 class. Humble from the two Angels, son beating father. Francis Carruthers should be the leading Class A car. He should be coming out. Yes, he is. There he comes now, the second of the pull beams. The pull beam PM84 as opposed to the Judd V8 of Steve Humble.
Right, so coming home there in that 4th place across the line now is the pull beam of Francis Carruthers. Then the Porsche GT3 Cup car of Gary Kieswetter making his way under the Mad Max motorcycle bridge to bring the Martini Racing Porsche home in that 5th position. Still a few more cars out there. Limping towards the checkered flag is the Radical of Josh Broom. Surely he's going to bring that car to the flag. No. Yes.
Yeah.
No. No, he's pulling into pit lane, so that's
he almost did a Dr. Mike.
Well, and Gary Kieswetter, only the first 5 cars was out there on the lead lap. Broom doesn't have to bring it to the checkered flag. He does finish 1 lap down. Clinton Thorne in the Toyota Birkin 7. Michael J said that's been baptized as the Batmobile. And he finishes in 7th position. Dr. Mike Verrier in P8, Louis de Jager in P9. And rounding off the top 10 is the Opel-powered Birkin 7 of Ray Farnham.
Well, let's hope that Francis Kabanti can get it sorted out for heat number 2. That we can get him out there amongst the likes of Steve Humble, Dane and Marcel Angel that ended up in the top 3 for this one. Steve Humble, the fastest lap for this one. It was on lap number 6, a 109.574. That's just before takeoff speed.
All right, folks, here we go with the Sports and GT Cars race number 2. They're out there on their pace lap. And pretty soon we'll be getting this one underway. This will be a rolling start. The safety car He's leading them down into Fostron corner. That's turn 5. And that safety car will peel off into pit lane. And we'll have 10 laps of sports and GT car racing.
So a bit of a gear selection problem for Franco Scribante with heat number 1. He had a tire that was losing pressure in the qualifying. Then a bit of a problem with the gear selection on the paddles. He lost the paddles completely in heat number 2. So let's see what happens from here. Steve Humble in that. Josh Broom's going to be in there as well. No, he's not. Josh Broom did not make it back out onto circuit. So Scribante takes it into turn number 1, KFM corner. In there behind him is the pull beam of Steve Humble. It's Dane Angel from Marcel Angel coming through there behind that. And then the next man through there is Gary Kieswetter.
Kieswetter sits out there in P number 5. Behind him it's Francis Carruthers as Clinton Thorne making his way through. Behind Clinton Thorne, Mike Verrier, and behind Mike Verrier, Louis De Jager, as the 2 leading cars work their way into turn number 4. Through Fostron corner they come now. They will run as hard as they can down that back straight. It is Scribante versus Humble. Look at that Porsche. Just open up 2-3 car lengths there on the pull beam as they head into turn 5.
Well, I think that's the first time that we've really seen Scribante flat foot in all earnest. And the amount of power pulling out under that Judd V8 powered motor car behind him, the pull beam. Utterly amazing how much power. It's got 1.5 seconds between the two of them. Dane Angel and Marcel Angel right in there as well. And they started first and second on the front row of the grid for heat number 1. They didn't manage to get the double. It was all about Steve Humble that took the win in heat number 1. And now they find themselves in 3rd and 4th positions.
The Ferrari of Marcel Angel slowed right down. He's back up to pace again. He's in there behind Francis Carruthers. I just missed him. I thought, well, he should be there directly behind Dane Angel. And all of a sudden, I saw Gary Kieswetter come through. And he seems to be okay now, Gary. But yes, he's lost quite some ground. He's behind Gary Kieswetter and Francis Carruthers.
Francis Carruthers coming off a knee operation, so he'll have a bit of discomfort in the motor car for all the amount of G-force that you get through the corner with that beam. And on the way down the back straight, Kieswetter has got those 2 cars in pretty close attendance behind him. But let's go back to the front end of the field. It's Scribante, that's the quickest man out there, a 109.549. Steve Humble slightly quicker than Franco Scribante. So Scribante not going to have it all his own way. Welcome to Cape Town.
What a lap, 109.548. That's mid 109s for the Judd V8 powered pull beam of Steve Humble. He's the quickest man out there. But Scribante sits out there in P1 as they make their way into turn number 3. The 2 leaders working their way out of turn number 3. Not far behind them is the Porsche of Dane Angel. And now heading towards turn number 3. Look at this show. It is Gary Kieswetter, Francis Carruthers, and the Ferrari of Marcel Angel. The 3 of them are working their way out of turn 3, running it up the KFM straight into turn number 4. And Marcel Angel is looking to make a serious comeback.
He's dropped way away from where we would have expected him to be and where he wanted to be. Right in there under Francis Carruthers. Dives out now behind Francis Carruthers, the second of the pull beams. That's the pull beam 84. And that's blinding the quick motor car in its own right. So he goes past 1. Now the next one that he's going to get to is Kieswetter. Kieswetter working his way up against the wall. He's going to lose out on that position. Marcel Angel keeps the hammer down, makes up that position. So he's made up the positions, but it's a long, long way to go any further forward in this race.
Well, another dice heading into turn 1 into KFM corner. It is the Shelby Can-Am versus we have a red flag. Yes, a red flag situation. Just heard, yeah, red flag has been called for. The race has been stopped. Apparently, there's a lot of oil thanks to our radio man here, Mr. Emil Brunt of Tiny Spitbox. The red flag has come out, the race has been stopped, and it seems that there's a possibility that there is oil on the circuit. The marshals are on the track doing a circuit inspection. All the cars have slowed right down. They're going to have to stop.
Frankie, I think, woohoo, look at what we see on the screen. The viewers at home have got a better view than what... And having said that, look up the front straight. If that's what I'm seeing up the front straight, right on the inside line, there's a dark line there, which means that we've got oil all the way down the back straight, through Fastron, and 2/3 of the way up the front main as well. That could be a major stoppage.
Well, yeah, there is a huge oil slick. You at home sitting watching the production, you can see that massive oil slick running down that 700-800 meter Killarney straight. That's Mike Verrier just moving the Shelby Can-Am to the left, saying, man, I'm going to get this thing off the oil slick. So Dr. Mike Verrier just saying, I must keep this Shelby Can-Am to the left. Louis De Jager coming through with a Lola T210. He's also keeping right off that oil slick is Louis, as the cars are now all ready to stop and reform here on grid proper. They'll cut motors and they'll wait for the next instruction.
Well, I think it's going to be a rather hot seat sitting inside one of these cars, having just done a little bit of time out there on circuit, building up the temperatures, and now you go and park on the circuit. Unless you've got the necessary ventilations, it's going to get very warm sitting inside those motor cars. This could possibly be a lengthy stoppage. Well, as we said, we expected that it's going to get pretty hot if you sit inside these motor cars, and most everybody out of their cars and walking around having a quick chat with one another. Nice to see the interaction there is between the drivers. See Marcel Angels out of the Autohouse Angel car, and yeah, it would be kind of hectic to be sitting inside that motor car for an extended period of time with the amount of temperature that it's built up. It's designed to go fast, not to be comfortable, not that specific one. The Scribanti car having a quick look to see what's what, doing a quick top up on the fuel there as well. Dane Angel's front windscreen being cleaned by the pit crew just to make sure everything is good to go. So the super quick Steve Humble also out of the motor car and standing out there on circuit, the owner of Harp Motorsport, having a chat with the marshals and with Dane Angel as well. And he looks very relaxed for somebody that's just been doing 277 kilometers an hour going down the back straight towards Fastron. But probably around about 20 million rands worth of machinery we're looking at from upstairs here in the commentary box. For you folks at home, there's not a lot of them, but it's the best quality that you're going to get in these type of motor cars here in South Africa.
Just keeping an eye on the drivers. Dane Angel just standing there with his arms in his hips there, busy having a look. The man that's standing right there with him, he's direct in front of him. You'll see with the black and yellow race suit, that is Marcel Angel, and to Dane's left is Steve Humble. He's having a chat there to Neva van der Merwe. Steve Humble, he drives that white pull beam with that V8 Judd motor, having a drink of cold water there just to cool himself down. And standing under the umbrella is Francis Carruthers. Under that black umbrella is Francis Carruthers. So the guy is just getting out and having a bit of a chat. There's Dr. Mike Very. He's got the white and blue umbrella, has Mike. Gives us a wave from trackside. He drives the number 33 Shelby Can-Am, and Francis Carruthers giving us a wave as well. Louis De Jager standing there under the yellow Winds umbrella. So the guy is just busy cooling down a bit and waiting for further instructions before we continue with this race. right, folks, back home and everybody else there on YouTube and Facebook world, we're about to go racing again with the Sports and GT Cars race number 2 restart. And it's been brought down from 10 laps to 8 laps due to the situation. And we watched the replay earlier on, and what we could see going down the back straight, we believe that it is the Toyota Birkin 7, the number 27 car of Clinton Thorne, that put the oil down on the circuit. Clinton is not out there on the grid, so we do believe that it is Clinton Thorne that put the oil down on the circuit. Right, so we're about to go Sports and GT Car Racing, race number 2, restart over 8 laps this time, as the pace car slash safety car is making its way into turn 2 already. And the rest of the cars just making their way off the line. This is going to be an 8-lapper. Steve Humble there with the V8 Judd-powered pull beam. And then behind him, look at that Porsche 997 of the man from the Eastern Cape, from Port Elizabeth, Silvio Scribanti. Behind him, it is the Porsche of Dane Angel and the Ferrari of Marcel Angel. Those are your first 4 cars that are making their way into turn 3. Then the other pull beam of Francis Carruthers, the Porsche of Gary Kieswetter, the Shelby Can-Am of Mike Verrier, and the Lola T210 of Louis De Jager. And then also out there, the Birkin 7 of Ray Farnham. That's a subtotal that we've got left of the sports and GT car field. A lot of casualties out here today, sadly, but what we've got out here is quality driver car combinations.
Yeah, we've lost out on the Nissan 350Z of Emil Buerta. We lost out on the Lotus Deprica 7 of Henny Trollope. Gavin Gorman in the VW Nardini, that's got the 2-liter Golf motor in, and that one through a cam belt. And the pistons and the valves were going in opposite directions at very high revs. The meeting was disastrous, and the end result is one trashed motor, unfortunately. But he's got the services of the right people into the line of Dave Ingle that puts the power plants together. So I'm sure you'll get that one sorted out. And they've also lost out on Josh Broom as well. So Josh not been able to make it out for this heat. So, as we said, not a lot, but the best of the best of the best. Frankie Ennis, rolling start, 8 laps to go, take him off the line.
Right, we're about to go racing shortly. The lights go with the restart of the Sports and GT car, race number 2 over 8 laps. And it is Steve Humble that gets the whole shot at a turn number 1. Right behind him, it's Franco Scribanti, Dane and Marcel Angel, P4 and 5, P3 and 4, and rounding off the top 5 is Francis Carruthers, and behind him Gary Kieswetter, as into the lead goes Steve Humble.
Well, I tell you what, I got a funny feeling that he's going to be trounced by Franco Scribanti with a 997 Porsche when they get out into the back main. That car is just blindingly quick on acceleration. If you look at the pull beam with that Judd V8 under the hood, that is super duper quick. Well, somehow or other, a big gap as they come back into sight between the pull beam and the Porsche. So it's not going to happen on this lap, that's for sure. He did catch up a long way, but not enough to be able to rattle the cage of the owner of Harp Motorsport. Man, that's very knowledgeable in every single inch of this circuit. They've already broken away from Dane and Marcel Angel, Francis Carruthers, Gary Kieswetter, and Mike Verrier coming out into the front main, just ahead there of Louis De Jager.
Right, so the leaders are working their way out of turn number 1, KFM corner, heading up the Jabez straight towards turn 2, and that pull beam slanging in there ahead of the Porsche in that second position. It's Steve Humble, and he's getting away from Franco Scribanti in that second position. Not too far behind them, it is the Angels. It's Dane and Marcel Angel, the Porsche versus the Ferrari, working their way up the KFM straight towards turn number 4, and they've been hunted there by the other pull beam on the track, of Francis Carruthers.
Well, somehow or other, it looks like it's going to be that man up front, Steve Humble, from start to finish. Everybody expected Franco Scribante was going to come down and show the way around to the West Province Motor Club boys. Once again, that pull beam in the hands of Steve Humble is very, very quick around. Probably around about a 1 minute 12. No! Oh, a 109.357, the fastest lap time around this circuit today.
Well, we all know that the fastest lap time around here is a 106. That was put up there by Janetta, but 109.357 is the quickest time around the Killarney circuit for today, and that is Steve Humble in that bull beam. And at this point in time, there's not much that Franco Scribante in that second position with that Porsche 997 can do at this point. As a matter of fact, he's been left behind. That bull beam is running on rails around Killarney International Raceway. Down the back main goes that Judd V8 powered bull beam of Steve Humble, working his way down the back main, and he'll pick up the first of the back markers, namely the Birkin 7 of Ray Farnham.
I think Steve Humble, if he carries on like this, is going to go even quicker. He's done a personal best Sector 1. He's done a personal best Sector 2. 109.357 was the previous lap. This one is a 108.940. Well, if you turn that upside down, it will take off, and it'll take a long time before it comes down. Utterly amazing. Steve Humble, I tell you what, a humble gentleman, but so quick.
And even Scribante is doing a 109.6. So Franco Scribante is flying that 997 around here, and not even he can beat the 108.940 of Steve Humble. And once again, already Steve has done a purple sector in Sector 1.
Even quicker goes Steve Humble. Well, there's very, very few people that can say they've ever gone around Killarney International Raceway quicker than the local man, Steve Humble. And 108, oh, a second sector, a purple sector, a 20.0. I think he was on a 20.1 on the previous lap. So there's a tenth of a second in the second sector as well. Can he chop a 108.940? Here he comes, the pride of Western Province Motorsport, Sports and GT, Steve Humble. Good morning, he says 108.559. And Franco Scribante is doing sub 110s, and he is 2.8 seconds behind.
Well, I'll tell you what, and once again, another personal best by Franco Scribante. He's done a 109.2, and he cannot get remotely close to Steve Humble. PBs for Dane Angel and Marcel Angel, 111.5 and 111.7s, and these guys are not even remotely close to Steve Humble. However, he's slower in his first sector, so I don't think he's going to beat the 108.559.
No, not on the present lap. It was picked up there by Emil Brandt. He ran wide in KFM turn number 1, and for that reason, the 2 seconds slower in that sector. So this lap that he's doing now will probably be a sub 1 minute 10 or very close to a 1 minute 10, but definitely not going to be as quick as that. Let's look at the rest of the Class S cars. Dane Angel still ahead of his father, Marcel Angel, and that by about 1.6 seconds.
Well, all of a sudden, Scribante is right there. Franco Scribante just sails in there behind that pull beam coming out of turn 1 KFM of Steve Humble. Now, has Steve got a problem? Has Scribante just turned up the wick? We'll have a look and see. They're making their way now towards the end of Sector 1. Sector 1 is going to end now, and no, not one of them has done a personal best there in Sector 1, but that is not the issue. The issue is that Scribante is right there once again with Humble, and as I so speak, Humble pulls 2, 3, 4 car lengths on him once again.
Oh, I tell you what, amazing these two. A 20.2 on Sector 2, taking 8 tenths of a second on Sector 2, 1 tenth of a second in Sector 1, so 9 tenths already, almost a second on this lap quicker than Franco Scribante. But let's look a little bit further down, 5th overall out there, the first of the Class A cars, the Pull Beam PM84 of Francis Carruthers from Gary Kieswetter, then Mike Verrier, the third of the Class A cars out there.
And into the lead goes Scribante. No, they side by side coming out of turn number 1. Scribante has done a purple sector in sector 3. He was very, very quick out there. And now Franco Scribante's turned up the wick on that Porsche 997 and is calling it over the back area there of that pull beam of Steve Humble. But in the first sector, that pull beam is a lot quicker than the Porsche.
Just maybe Steve Humble, in doing those super duper quick laps, slightly cooked the tires, and that's made him a bit slower on the third lap that he was out there after the restart. And now the tires coming back to him and getting it back there on pace again. Leading out from Class D is Ray Farnham, and that in the...
That second sector heading towards turn 3. There's a half a lap to go for our two front runners as they work their way towards turn number 4, Car Care Clinic. And with less than a half a lap to go, this one surely is in the bag for Steve Humble.
Marcel Angel deciding not going to be beaten by Sun twice in a row. They're on their way through turn number 3. There you see them on screen now as they go out into the KFM straight, and that is the Ferrari of Marcel Angel that's now gone ahead of the Porsche GT2R of Dane Angel, and they are 3rd and 4th in class. Steve Humble takes the win. What a lovely drive by him. A 109.077 on his last lap. A 109.5 by Franco Scribante. Marcel and Dane Angel, they were 1st and 2nd on the front row of the grid for heat number 1. They will come through in 3rd and 4th position. Father-son combination. Marcel not giving it away. Oh, Dane goes up the inside. Dane beats him. Dane beats him by 1/100th of a second. On the very last, he took the dive. In fact, Danny almost took him off onto the grass on the inside, trying to block him. That could have been a 2.5 million rand oops if they had touched one another and both gone off. What a brilliant dive. Francis Carruthers, the next man's coming through there, and he completes his 8 laps. Francis Carruthers in the pull beam PM84. Gary Kieswetter should be the next man coming through. There he comes through Fastron. Coming out of the Fastron corner, Gary Kieswetter, and it should be Mike Verrier will be the next one. Yup, there's Mike Verrier on his way down into Fastron corner now.